Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another week on LinkedIn. My name is Jeff Mahacek. I am all things design advisor, coach, mentor, whatever it is you need, I'm here to help. Every week I post a video kind of paying it forward to the design community with some of my thoughts and learnings after 25 years in this industry. This week, I want to talk about user research. So I had a great conversation with a colleague last week about kind of the state of user research, what's been going on in the industry, what we think user research is going to look like in the future, because there's always a need for it. And I had recorded a video recently about user research and why it kind of got cut first. And it's going to come back, but how and what's it going to look like? And my own thinking on this has evolved over time. So historically, user researchers were embedded with the pods or the squads or the product development teams, whatever you call them at your company or organization. They were that kind of in the trenches team, and maybe they probably supported more than one, but that's kind of where they operated. And there was this consistent problem, and I led research at 3 different organizations. So I saw this in multiple different ways pop up. I've talked to people in the industry, and I know it's a trend that researchers tended to feel like, I want to provide more strategic value. They were feeling maybe a little stifled and like they weren't having the impact that they wanted to have to the organization as a whole. Similarly, a lot of times you'd have business leaders who were responsible for P&L statements saying, I'm not sure we need this. And sometimes they'd question the value and the return on investment in user research. When research comes back full force as an industry-wide thing, which I believe it will, one of the things I've been thinking a lot is how some other departments create roles and align with organizations. And I've really thought a lot about HR and finance of all teams. So there are roles in HR and finance that are essentially business partners. So HR has an HR business partner. Finance, every VP usually has one person in finance who's assigned to be kind of their person to help them navigate financial decisions, to keep them abreast of what's going on, whatnot. I am really starting to believe this is the right path for research, to move those roles further away from kind of in the weeds product development and more as a business partner to people who own P&Ls. Let me explain why I feel like this is an evolution. I don't think we've been doing it wrong. I think this is an evolution that's necessary. First of all, historically, it was really hard and costly to get things wrong in production. It was hard to roll back code. It was really intensive to build kind of front layer things from an engineering perspective. And I remember 10 years ago, it was widely held like $1 spent in research saved you $10 in engineering. But as engineering has become more efficient, I believe that ratio has changed. Sometimes it's way faster to do an A/B test than it is to do a user research project. And you learn in production and you grow from those learnings and you can iterate faster. I think that's why researchers have been feeling like, oh, am I really having the impact I need to have? And why some business leaders are like, oh, am I really getting the return that I need? By moving researchers' main partners away from a product manager who is really focused on like their epics, their sprints, this quarter, however you want to name it, where a lot of the major strategic decisions have been made already. And so the ability for research to provide an impact is maybe a little bit lessened. By putting them with the people whose job it is to be thinking 6 months in the future, 1 year in the future, what is the future path? What are the questions I have about what we're going to be doing in the next 2 or 3 quarters, which maybe at your company it's the product manager, but I think for a lot of companies, it's someone higher up in the organization. Imagine them having a research business partner whose job it is to know what those questions are, check in with them, and to then go collect those insights through research programs. Provide it back to them. Also, do the research on how things are going with the product, be able to provide that information, funnel back through the quant or qualitative research to say, here's the health of your business right now from a user experience perspective. So that's just something that I've been thinking about lately. And I said it to this colleague last week, and he's like, you should do a video about that. So here's my video about that. So as you're thinking about either you're a leader over a research team, or you've got researchers, or you're thinking of hiring your first researcher because you're a small startup, I'd really encourage you to think, who is the person that most needs questions answered about 3, 6, 9 months in the future in your organization? Like I said, it's tending to not be the product managers as much as it used to be. Could be wrong. If I'm wrong, then you know how to make this decision. But if it's a GM, if it's a business owner, if it's somebody who has P&L responsibility over a line of business, think about hiring the researcher that can be their business partner, that can provide them the service and the information they need to be successful in that role. And let the product development teams iterate, use the tools at their disposal. And maybe sometimes that means the business partner is like, listen, I need you in this product team helping this particular thing be successful. And sometimes it's going to be something more high level. But I would encourage you to think about that's how you should be doing your resource alignment. That's how you should be thinking about doing your hiring of who you're going to bring into your organization. And as a researcher, if you're currently feeling that, if you're currently feeling I'm working on things that aren't as high impact as I wish they were, ask yourself, who am I getting scoped by? Am I getting scoped by somebody who is thinking about 3 months in the future, 6 months, 9 months in the future? Or am I thinking about somebody who's thinking, what am I doing this quarter? What am I doing in this epic, this sprint, whatever you want to call it? And if you're seeing that disconnect, start to build relationships with the more senior folk. Schedule the one-on-ones and say, hey, I'm a researcher who's supporting part of your business. I want to make sure your needs are being met. What are your questions? Would you prefer that I prioritize those questions over some of these things that I'm working on? And by building those relationships, you will naturally align yourselves to higher impact projects and the true decision makers about the future of the organization. So that's my advice. Those are my thoughts for this week. As always, I'm Jeff. I'm available for coaching, fractional leadership, whatever it is you need. Don't hesitate to reach out and ask if you need some help. All right, everyone have a great week. Bye.